evidence that inquiry is worth pursuing? When is such ignorance considered a threat? And when is it better accepted and even favored or revered? As our understanding of other planets, the solar system, and the universe grows, we collectively realize that intelligent life must exist outside Earth. But even though attitudes are changing, there's still a fair way to go until sincere, open discussion in the mainstream becomes the norm. Glencario, Wales. Like many before, Sacha and Stephen once spent a break in the forests in Glencario. And like not so many before, they were hesitant to discuss what happened there. In fear of ridicule and ignorance, they wanted to stay in the shadows until now.
I don't like the way that when people come to mythology and they tell their story, that people run away with it and do what they want with it. Read books. I have got a bit of a reputation for being fierce, but it's not fierceness, I'm protecting myself. It's dangerous. So that's why I'm fierce. That's why I'm protective of what happened. I want to keep it exactly as I say.
When it comes to the case of Sasha Christie, whenever you talk to Sasha about this encounter, you can see it's moderate. Sasha's not shrinking violent in any respect.
I've been patient as well because I didn't want to expose Stephen on you. It was Stephen came to me and said he wanted to talk about it now. So, we ended up coming forward together.
So much hearsay nowadays, there's so much manipulation. Everybody would like to get a story, they want to be up there, they want to prove their point. I know that I'm going to need to prove my point. The only person I need to prove my point to is myself. I still don't know what really happened that particular night.
Skeptics will talk. They will conjure up their own descriptions. They mix and match accounts of different individuals to create the best story. York, England. Is this real? Did Phil just come face to face with an extraterrestrial? The world stopped around him and he locked eyes with this unknown creature. Apprehension mixed with curiosity fills Phil's existence. The need to visit the location where this encounter unfolded continues to exist in his mind. Upon his return, he came face to face with nothing but not a disappointment, nothing but the kind of nothing that would fill any individual's mind with questions. There was a triangle shape of nothingness in the middle of the field where nothing had grown. It was utterly barren of any form of vegetation at all.
So it told us that, for certainly those where this object had been, nothing would grow. And that's not, unique. We've had such cases in different parts of the world where the soil and the growth was altered as a result. What that says about the subject and the phenomenon is a different argument. It confirmed to Philip that this was something quite bizarre and nothing conventional.
Glencario, Wales. It's not uncommon for people to want to experience the unknown once, let alone return to locations they've been to before. But of course, no place is the same twice. Visiting a location in the dead of night will be different to visiting it in the day. Trees look less intimidating, shadows less scary. This didn't happen all of a sudden. This happened gradually, until the crowd Sacha and Stephen were seeing was almost above them.
And I drove in the middle of the night. I was in Wolverhampton. It just sleep, get in the van, you can't sleep, drive out there. I felt the need to go back because I was still questioning. This is 4 years after the affair. I was still questioning, would I see, should I go back? I have work the next day, but no, let's just go. Because the life has moved on. I feel quite comfortable in the situation. I still don't have any answers.
One of the things that the late Dr. Hynek suggested is that we concentrate on encounters that he called high strangeness. In other words, things that weren't a little light 3 miles away or in the night sky. Things that were rather seen up close. It's not impossible, but it's less likely that we're going to be misidentifying everyday ordinary objects. You know, so if you're that close to it, then you should be able to recognise exactly what it was.
Or, in this instant, what it wasn't.
The point when
called upon Sash and came out straight away. We both stood there looking, and it was starting to grow in the sky where it was actually starting to roll over. This is when it became apparent there was more going on in the centre of it, and I don't know whether the effect around it is to do with what was going on in the middle of it, because it seemed to be slowly but surely taking over the sky for me.
Just like this, it was just moving through the different densities of the clouds. So it kind of rippled, but it wasn't like tentacles, it wasn't like a living creature, it was just white, it just looked like kind of like a jellyfish within the clouds.
It seemed to be circling in a clockwise but swirling anti-clockwise. As it started to move over, it would be going round the anti-clockwise, but in the middle it was the effect.
Because it wasn't even coming in my direction. It saw you, it saw me, and I don't know how, whatever technology was in it, because we were miles and miles away from it, but it affected it on us, and it came to our position of direction.
Energy flows, and the great believer is before I actually kind of really looked into that side of things.
But I've never seen any kind of life form within UFO. I cannot say that they go together because I don't know that they do. I mean, that is a total assumption. There's a house opposite, like further off on the opposite side of the valley, on another hill. And when we were walking around yesterday, and I said to Steve, imagine if you were looking at other windows on that property there, what you would have seen. No, I mean,
seeing what we saw, but
they were just seeing what tiny there is.
it's not
And effective, is it?
So now we want to move on to flying triangles. They've been seen all around the world since at least 1974, without a doubt. We've got November 29th, 1989, Belgium is seen. January 5th, 2000, Southern Illinois. Area 51, Boone Lake. They've been seen almost in every country by every possible culture. So it's a worldwide phenomenon. March 31st, 1999, Kirby. A very significant sighting, and if anyone in this room is a skeptic, I just invite you to look at this gentleman's testimony, Colin Saunders. You can Google him. He gave a really nice 20-minute lecture regarding this particular sighting. A very honest gentleman. I totally believe his case. This thing was approximately 50 feet across, in conjunction with his Cessna 172 that has a 27-foot wingspan. There's Colin Sanders here. Here's his UFO model. And when I saw that UFO model, I said, well, I want to have one of those.
This is only a recent build that we've had done. We did these a few years ago. It's taken a while to get to the proper model that I wanted. But
appeared with about 20.
Just recently I've seen this exact model on a program by Stephen Greer. I know that he's got that model from Michael Scratch, who I sent these drawings to. Now he was telling us that this is a man-made crash and that this is the propulsion system at the back. I feel like I'm on a bit of a mission.
That's why I started building the models. I just got obsessed with
That's why I started to... During the course of the week, people I've spoken to about close encounters, more than often go on to have other encounters. Not necessarily UFO, but paranormal encounters. They all would like psychological explanation. They may well be what, the magnetic pull of the land, there's mines, it's concrete, it's slime.
It's not a bit exploratory,
So then you think, well, hang on a minute, what happens with the strobe lights and the effects of the people?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute, and it's only flickering a matter of seconds, but it's where did that come from? There's nothing here to do that.
Here is another UFO bulletin. The Defense Department has just announced that the unidentified flying object has suddenly disappeared from our radar screen. They believe the object has either disintegrated in space, or it may be a spaceship from some other planet which has the ability to nullify our radar beams. Because of the ominous situation, the President has ordered the Strategic Air Command into action.
York, England. Is the first thing that comes to mind an alien experience? An abduction?
Only thing I can recall is the strange shape, also the early silence of everything, and then that blank, nothing. So I could see the taking on some complete time for it, basically. What I've seen and experienced does not go with my periscopes, with my astronomical outlook. And the two don't mix.
We know as UFO researchers that most people don't actually report their sightings anyway. So they could well be witnesses, we just never found them.
Now, that's not so source, but I learned how a global team of astronomers have announced they found what could be evidence of life elsewhere, not on Mars, but on the much more inhospitable Venus. She's one of the team.
So what we think we found is sparking gas.